What's up guys, it's Mason. In today's video we're going to be setting up and putting together this new WAGNER Sprint we just got. So as you guys know, I have quite a few systems. I have all three of the Electrons, the Nordson Encore, the Samez Kremlin, and the Gamma Pro. So we're going to be finishing it off with the WAGNER Sprint, and then one day we'll get the Parker Prophecy unit too. I feel like I'm Thanos collecting the Infinity Stones with how many units we got, but it's pretty cool. I like to see all the different capabilities of each unit and doing a bunch of different comparisons too. So stay tuned for those videos, but let's go ahead and get this set up. But I'm really excited as I've heard a lot of good things, and with the WAGNER system, I don't have too much hands-on experience, so I'm happy to learn a lot by doing this. Show you guys what it's looking like. Big old WAGNER Sprint there. Let's go ahead and pull everything out of the box. So we got everything out in these boxes here. I'm going to go ahead and get these small boxes up here, and we're going to open them up. So this is what was in the box. We have our main base and vibrating table there. We have our gun and all its supporting stuff. We got our powder hose, some screws, bolts, whatever. I think our pump is in there. Everything to go with it. A super heavy duty pickup tube, control unit, and then the top piece, and looks like our swing arm. So let's go ahead and start putting it together. We don't want to crush this cable there. There goes screw, washer, then the holder, and then another washer. Sweet. Probably an M5. Nice. Gives you a cap. It's not for this. It's for plugging the other side, because this can go on either side. So we're going to drop this in. It's a little tight in here. You kind of just push it in place and then try to get your hand back in here. It's definitely not easy. Is there any provided tools? 7mm fits on it pretty good, so we're just going to use that. Gee whiz, yeah, it kind of just strips off because the head of these bolts are very small, so they don't sit far into the socket. Go ahead and throw on our swing arm. That fits nice. I like this. Maybe a little over the top and probably not needed, but still pretty cool with solid metal, because I don't think anybody else does that. Sweet. Looks like our rinsing line. So a rinsing line is used to keep the electrode in there clean. All of the guns have them. This rinsing line's kind of, it feels like a Gamma one, as far as it's kind of pretty malleable. It bends really easily. So go ahead and hook that up. It's going to go on the barb right here. Uh-oh. It's going to go on the barb fitting here, this little brass fitting, or it's going to push it over it. Maybe I should read the directions. What do you think? Oh, that's not English. Still not English. No shot this thing has no English in it. That'd be crazy. This manual is in completely not English, and I can't read whatever it is in. I think it's in documentum. I don't know. I have no idea what it is. It doesn't look like English or Spanish, because I know what Spanish looks like. So we'll just have to guess. We got some pliers. Definitely not easy to get on, but once it get on, I'm pretty dang sure it ain't ever coming off. Looks like their powder hose connector kind of, there's a little button on the front, this little yellow button, and you can pull out this powder hose connector. I like that it says WAGNER, that's nice. It feels, you know, I've dealt with a lot of powder hoses, the smoother they are. I don't know, I just like, these like give me, I don't know, maybe something's wrong with me, but this one feels a little different. This one kind of feels like the Samez powder hose. And the Electron, I mean not the Electron, the Gamma powder hose is probably my favorite, as it's really like smooth on the outside, because the inside's always like bumps and valleys. They all are, 'cause that's how they prevent it from getting stuck in the powder hose. But Gamma's is especially nice. Electron's is nice. But this one and the Samez are definitely, they're quite rough. Not a big deal, obviously, at all, but just something to think about, you know. Put our powder hose connector in. One side's barbed. You push it in. And then you just kind of got to really get it in there. See how far? Oh yeah, got a ways to go. Before I put a hole in my hand, that's probably about as far as it's going to go. And there you go. So that's what everything's going to look like. What I would do is hang this on the system and then pull on it, and then you're going to put all your Velcro on it as you pull on it. Gun cable, oh yeah, it's going to go right here where it says spray gun. And let's go ahead and tighten it down. Rinsing air. So it looks like this one that's coming out from the bottom here is for this that says remote. So the one coming from underneath the control unit here, we're going to plug into the remote spot. I still don't know where this would go. The only thing that's 6mm, which this is going to be this QD here, or push lock here, which is going from an 8mm to a reducer to a 6mm, and that's where that plugs in. Alright. Also, our pump is over here. That's left over. No sort of extra packaging, just a pump in here. Alright. Looks pretty standard. It's a 90-degree pump. The Nordson, Samez, and Electron, the Electron Masters, the +3s went to the 45, and so did the Game Up. The 45s provide a better, they provide less back pressure, because it's hard for this powder to make a direct right angle turn. It's easier to go up and make a 45-degree turn up that way. So that's the reason they did that. So we have a red and a blue. I guess they're just marked. They're not really color coordinated. They're just both red down here. Red and blue. Take it over here. They're color coded on the back side. So there's a red spot and a blue spot. The farthest right, this is called, well, it says what's it say? Atomizing air. Normally when people say atomized, it's fluidized, and this is a pickup tube that fluidizes air. So you think that this one is going to plug in over here. Fluidization line, so this goes to the pickup tube. It's going to go right where I put up underneath the unit. There's another one down here. And this, I was right. So I was initially right. This is what they're saying is atomizing air, which it's not really what it's doing. I mean, kind of. It's adding air into your powder supply, but normally you don't want it to affect your powder cloud because that means you have too much air. But I don't know. I'm gonna run and go get the correct fitting. That way I can actually use this filter and have air to the system. I'll be back. So you guys can see my struggle. I thought this would just be a cap that's in here, but it looks like it's, threaded all the way through. So I don't know how they expect you to be able to get this out. Oh, there we go. Wait, it might be going. Yeah, it's going. It's not actually threaded in there. It just, when I just pushed my knife on the side and tried to pop it out, it just ripped. So I think their plug's a bit tight. But now we can go ahead and thread in our QD here. So we have our power cable. It's going to plug into the main power slot on your system. And then our vibrating table, you're going to pull the plug out for the vibrating table, and then we can actually plug it in. They give you plenty of ground strap, which is nice. I don't really need it because we have one on the booth, but it is nice. So for our pump, our powder hose is going to plug in here. We're going to have a blue and a red. Red is in the back. And then our our fluidization. The fluidization is this black line here. Let's go into the front up there. That plugs in up underneath right there. Then our red and blue for our pump are here. And then our main air, so we're going to have from our filter. It's going to be this line, plugs in the system. This is where you plug it in, like from your air compressor, will plug in there. And then it's going to go into a little, you can see it, splits off, and then that's what plugs into your system. your gun, actually your gun plugs in here. So the gun cable, so this cable that's coming off the back of the gun will plug in here. This is where your control unit gets power. So it's up in there, it comes tucked up in there, you just pull it out, plug it in there. The vibrating table, which is right here, plugs in on the bottom, behind it right here. What they call atomize, no, that's, yeah, they do call this atomizing air. That plugs in over here by where our red and blue are, and then our powder hose, the other end will plug here, and then you know where it is on the other side. So that's pretty much it. We have our fuses, where they're held is right there. That come extra, but yeah, it is pretty much, those are all the connections for it. And we're ready to spray with it. So now that we have it set up, I guess I'm going to go ahead and give my overall review. So I guess my qualifications for the review is I've dealt with a lot of different systems. So comparing those with comparing this as far as functionality, so as far as how the stands and stuff put together. Since I haven't sprayed with it, we're not going to talk about it putting powder on parts, how it does on that, because pretty much all of them do like almost the same job. People that say that one's so much better than the other normally haven't shot with both, and if they have, maybe one might be 10 years newer than the other. So pretty much all these guns anymore, they shoot relatively the same. They just have different advantages as far as functions that may come with the system, but you know, getting powder on parts, they pretty much all work the same. I guess we'll start off with some of the good things first. I like the gun a lot. I think the gun fits pretty nice. I like the trigger. So the trigger is kind of like a clicky, and I think that's pretty nice because pulling the trigger on like the electrons or the game or whatever, it's kind of a long drag. It's like probably, I don't know, a half-inch drag. That's basically like a mouse click, which I do like. I like the heavy-duty design, so the pump and the pickup tube especially, they're both like really strongly built, especially this pickup tube. I just mentioned it earlier. I mean, that thing is solid. You know, pickup tubes aren't really something that breaks all too often, but you know, they're especially preventing that with this nice metal one. The pump seems really heavy-duty. It works like pretty simple. It's kind of like an old, well, it's like the Electron V2 pumps or the old Gamma IGO2 pumps. Basically a 90-degree turn, has a, well, Electron calls it a Teflon bushing, but it's basically a pump insert. Just gonna go in here. Nice, easy to change. Nothing too much about it. Some of the bad things I don't like is immediately when I put this pump in and try to get it out, it is a very, very snug fit. If you're doing a lot of color changes, I mean, it's definitely not easy to keep taking in and out, and I can see that being annoying if you're doing a lot of color changes. I also don't like how they don't have wheels on the front. They just basically have rubber feet. And main reason because I know especially in a lot of manual users, especially if they're coating something bigger, they'll move their system around where they're going. So like if you're painting a side-by-side frame, obviously you're not going to be able to reach it from one side to the other, and they'll move their system with you. This one, you can't really push it because it just wants to pivot. So you have to lean it all the way back like this, and then push it around, and everything just kind of goes swinging. The overall interface, I still need to get used to, as you know, I've dealt with a lot of Game and Electron, and even the Samez ones are more digital. This one seems very old and outdated, kind of like the Nordson LT is, just with some lights, a small LED screen display, but I mean, I don't know, I just think it lacks some of the customizability. Not maybe that, but it just, the use of this, I think that's so much easier to understand when looking at it than this. I mean, as somebody that's dealt with powder coating equipment my whole entire life, you know, I'm going to have to read the manual to understand what this is. When I get a game, or even when I did that Samez unit, I knew basically what everything is just by looking at the screen. This has a lot more buttons and different things that I'm not sure of, but that's mainly just because I don't know. So that opinion could change once I learn how to use it, and maybe I do like it a lot. But as of now, not a huge fan of the overall interface on the controller. If you notice with this stand, it's like a wider stand. So this stand is a little outdated in my opinion. Most of everyone has gone to a stand like that Electron one, like the Gamma, like the Samez, and I think even like the Nordson. Basically, it's, I don't know, it's a little thinner. They went with a thinner design. This looks more like a Gamma OptiFlex 1 stand, so they're wider. At least this one comes to a point which it works better that way. But I just think it's overall a little big and bulky, and it doesn't seem to be as compact as they have gone with newer stands that they're making today. The instructions for putting it together weren't the best, especially because even my gun manual instructions weren't even in English. I can grab them for you. I mean, anywhere in here, I don't even know what language this is. But, I mean, luckily I didn't have too many questions on it, but none of this was in English, the whole thing. So, I don't know what was up with that, but we're going to worry about too much. Some of the connections, they're a little confusing, especially if somebody that doesn't powder coat a whole bunch or doesn't know a bunch or very familiar with equipment. You know, they might struggle to put this thing together, which even I did, and I've put together hundreds of systems, even Electron gaming systems. You know, I mean, the other systems I didn't have a problem with putting together, but you know, it just seems like it can be confusing to somebody that's never done it before. I'm sure it's pretty much the same as all the others. It's just functionality, what you like more. Price obviously is going to be important. I think this unit, I don't know if they want me to say, but I think I paid a little over $6 grand. I'm not going to tell you exactly, but a little over $6 grand for this system. And you know, I don't think I'm going to be disappointed. I'm just saying, you know, it's an expensive unit. You're going to, especially if you're in the market for something like these, any of these systems, you do your research. Watch some of my videos. I'm going to be having comparison videos here soon, and they should definitely help if you're, you know, on the edge of looking to get something. You know, there's issues we've had with Electron systems all the time, and we work every day to fix them. We are in contact with Electron every day trying to make these systems as best as they can, because we know, you know, this is an expensive thing to get into, and I'd hate for you guys to get something and you're not fully satisfied with it. But overall, I don't mind the system at all. I mean, I think it'll be great. I'm excited to do more testing with it. I'm sure it's going to spray powder well. I'm sure it's going to, you know, be able to coat parts well. But, you know, I'm just trying to nitpick things that I see. You know, this nozzle, just looking at it now, is a little different. It's got little cross hatches. Doesn't look like it's going to go as wide, you know. So some people might like that. Some people might not. I don't even know how to get the nozzle out. There it is. Very plasticky. But, I mean, it's just things we're going to have to do quite a bit of testing with and see if we like. I mean, this fitting here is a bit loose. This O-ring, I guess it is, that should keep it sealed, but everybody does things differently, and I'm excited to do quite a bit of testing with them. Again, I'm really excited to do some testing, different comparisons between different units, different features, whatever unit has to offer. I think you guys will really like that. But if you learn anything, please let me know. I'm happy to help. You know, any questions on these, I'd be happy to answer them. Any questions on any of these units, I'd be happy to answer them as far as, you know, functionality, what I think is the best, because I mean, I can get in with any of you guys looking for more helpful information. I'd be happy to help you guys out. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.